That's big talk, not small. Big talk, big talk, big talk, not small. Songs help us be in touch with our feelings. We listen to our favorites to sink into how we're feeling or to lift us out of something hard. One group listens to songs more than any other, teenagers. When you resonate with a song, it tells you something about yourself. Am I confused, angry, in love? As a singer-songwriter and teaching artist for over 20 years, I've seen how music is a window into the emotional lives of young people. Not only do teens tune into themselves when they listen to songs by their favorite artists, when teens have opportunities to write their own songs, they feel heard, understood, and gain confidence. When I was a teenager, I attended an academically competitive high school and studied many nights till 3 a.m. I was also navigating new emotional experiences. There were good things like new friendships and more independence. But there was also racism, sexism, and peer pressure in our school community. There wasn't space to talk about these things at school, so I stuffed them inside to excel at chemistry, math, and history. You wouldn't have been able to tell. I wore miniskirts, makeup, and got decent grades. But in this environment, I fell into a deep depression. I remember one day driving home from school, my mind was cycling. I was worried about a friend who was the target of vicious gossip. I was upset over racial threats of violence happening in our school hallways. What's the point of all this academic achievement when our community is hurting and fractured? Did the teachers know and just look the other way? All the pain and disconnection I had been feeling was taking a toll. I thought, I don't want to be alive anymore. I began having thoughts of suicide. A few days later, in English class, our teacher said we could write about whatever we wanted. I started writing about all I was experiencing, and as I did, I began to feel lighter. In time, I added music to my stories, and little by little, I started writing songs. It had felt like my circumstances had power over me, but by creating a song out of my experience, it was like saying, no, you don't. What I didn't know then is that years later, I would discover this was true for many young people, not just me. In the US, teens have stress levels that surpass those of adults. And over the last 2 decades, there's been a 29% increase in the youth suicide rate. 1 in 5 teens has a mental health condition. When teens don't have enough space to express and process their emotions, it can have serious consequences. As I began to be invited to teach songwriting to high school students across the US, I noticed that many showed up overwhelmed by their burdens. Sure, sometimes they were enthusiastic, but often they were frustrated and zoned out. However, as they began the songwriting process, I saw these teens become animated and focused. By a show of hands, do any of you identify as artists? For those of you who raised your hand, and even for those who don't wear that identity, have you ever had the experience where expressing yourself honestly gave you strength and made you feel like you could keep going? That's what these teens do. I remember one young woman who lost her mom. She said it felt good to write and sing about how much she loved her mom and to have her peers listen and show empathy. A teen from rural Georgia wrote a song about Ahmaud Arbery's death. He expressed his feelings of anger and sadness as a young Black man living in a world where violence against Black people is still commonplace. When teens write songs together, they often imagine the world they want to live in. One group of Milwaukee youth were frustrated by the mean-spirited way they saw some politicians talking past each other. They argued that kindness instead is the solution and wrote this chorus.
Kindness is the glue that the people use to put the world back together. Kindness is the glue that the people use.
A group of teenagers from Washington, D.C. pushed back against expectations for them that they felt were too limiting with this "I can do better" chorus.
I wanna do better, so I can do better. Staying true to myself in my life, I can do better.
When teens bring their whole selves to the learning process, they learn better. Research shows this. It also shows that when they make representations of their ideas and their lives through poems, drawing, songs, etc., they evolve their identities in positive ways. For the past 10+ years, I've seen teens cultivate connection, empathy, and authenticity by telling their stories through songwriting. One partner-based activity does this particularly well. In fact, I was so inspired by it that I decided to research it for my master's in education at the University of Wisconsin. Here's how it works. In this activity, teens are invited to write songs for each other. Teens are paired up with a partner and invited to write a song based on a story their partner has shared. So if my partner's Molly, I write a song about and for Molly, and she writes one for me. I give teens a list of questions to help get their conversations going. Things like, who is someone who changed your life significantly for the better? Or what is something you've been meaning to get off your chest? Today, I'll share an example of a partner pair named Gabby and Xander, who experienced typical benefits of this activity at a summer camp. Xander chose to answer the question, what is something you've been meaning to get off your chest? He told Gabby he was feeling homesick, he missed his girlfriend back home, he felt like he had imposter syndrome, and that he didn't measure up to the other kids. Gabby wrote Xander a song. This is the first verse and chorus of that song, which I'll play for you now.
I'm missing home, and by that I mean me and you. I don't feel whole. You're my right arm and my left leg too. Here I feel so out of place. I'm trying while no one seems to run. And I need you in my space. You'll make me come around, sink my feet in the ground. I just need your face.
What we discovered is that young people often choose to write in first person as their partner. Here, Gabby is writing and singing as Xander. When young people do this, they inhabit the emotional landscape of the other person, which builds empathy and connection. When teens choose lyrics, they have to imagine how the other person thinks and feels, and they have to listen deeply to do this. Gabby has put Xander's story almost entirely into her own words, and he said, I felt pretty heard by what she wrote. It was cool to hear that she got what I was saying. Xander also felt seen more as his authentic self. He said the experience allowed him to be more of the emotional person he is rather than the class clown. He said, I was able to let down my guard of hiding what I was feeling. Finally, Xander's view of his identity changed. By the end of the week, he no longer felt imposter syndrome and instead said, I realize it's not about sizing up. It's about being and creating what you uniquely can because you're an original. So we see that partner-based songwriting is a powerful tool that cultivates many benefits, such as emotion recognition and expression, empathy, and connection. It's an expression that allows teens to evolve their identities in positive ways, gives them strength to keep going in a world of adversity, and allows them to write about the world they want to create and live in. Additionally, while teens experience heightened emotions, they're more likely to feel alone in these emotions than other age groups. So pairing them up with a partner gives them a connection opportunity. You might think you need a lot of musical experience to benefit from partner-based songwriting, but the teens I encounter range from having a lot of musical experience to almost none at all. When I was going through a painful divorce in my 30s, I would draw daily self-portraits. Now, I don't know anything about drawing technique, but expressing myself through shapes and colors made me feel better. Also, looking back at the portraits gave me compassion for myself, because some days I thought, wow, she looks really sad. And other days I thought, she looks powerful. I think she's going to be okay. I learned about myself through art making. This kind of learning that I needed as someone going through a divorce was the same kind of learning I needed as a teenager, navigating new and challenging experiences. We know that letting young people's real lives be their learning ground helps them develop positive identities and social emotional skills. But what is it specifically about songwriting that helps them develop these identities, deep listening skills, authenticity, empathy, connection? Well, first, we know songs are an art form that teens are already familiar with and connected to. Second, music for many is a way to express emotion beyond what words alone can. But also, there's something about the structure of a song, and I want to tell you about it and then give you an invitation. The structure of a song has an inherent emotional intelligence. What do I mean? Well, songs have choruses. The chorus is the part that repeats. It's usually the main idea, main emotion, or what I like to call the heart of the matter. Songs also have verses. The verses usually share the details of the story, where it happened, when it happened. So songs are unique in that teens can connect to their individuality, to details of stories that are uniquely their own when they write verses. When they write choruses, they can connect to more universal emotions. Notice how they're connected to those around them and invite others into their experience. Simply put, verses can be me or you. Choruses can be we. In the song I started with today, the chorus is simply, big talk, big talk, big talk, not small. Big talk, big talk, big talk, not small. You'll notice this chorus only has 4 distinct words. It's simple, but incorporates the main message that sharing our stories is a powerful way to get to know each other. Similarly, in the song by Milwaukee Youth, the chorus is, kindness is the glue that the people use to put the world back together. You don't need a lot of words to make a chorus. You simply need a willingness to listen to yourself, the people, and the world around you. Over the last few years, I've helped facilitate leadership training events using music and songwriting as tools. I've seen how leadership is shifting from more hierarchical models to what my friend and leadership coach Stephen Kohler calls the ensemble model, in which deep listening and authenticity are highly valued. As the paradigm shifts, more voices are heard, and there is a greater appreciation of our interconnectedness. I see something. This tool of songwriting that helps teens cope today cultivates leadership and life skills they can use throughout their lives. And this can be true for anyone of any age. So I invite you to take the first step towards experiencing the benefits of partner-based songwriting. Whether you work with teens, if you are a teen, or if you're simply someone interested in seeing how songwriting can help you connect with yourself and others more deeply, I invite you to take this first step. Set up a coffee date to get together with a friend. Share a meaningful story with this person. Let this person share a meaningful story with you. Engage in that deep listening. See if you can identify the heart of the matter, the main feeling this person is experiencing or experienced. Then write your friend a chorus. Even if you don't sing it, you can speak it. It can be one sentence or a few, but show your friend you really heard them. Then see how it feels to have your friend listen to you and write you a chorus. Songs express and hold the human experience so well. Our stories are worth sharing, and we grow when we listen like someone who's going to turn them into a song. When we learn to talk the big talk, especially through songs created for someone else, this beautiful music makes the world a kinder, better place. Thank you.